Hello everyone, am I audible?
Good evening, ma'am. Yes, you are audible.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harshdeep Kaur. So, hi, I welcome you all for today evening session. Very interesting topic, and majority of the geriatric population come with this complaint, which is majorly called as musculoskeletal disorders. Can anybody tell me what do you mean by musculoskeletal disorder in general?
Disorders related to muscles and bones and
Very,
other soft tissues.
very good. Why do you think that muscles, bones, and other tissues, most more common problems are seen in the old age people? Why do you think?
Ma'am, because
Because
of less exposure of sunlight and reduced vitamin D and calcium levels.
Yes, very good. That is one of the
of
nutritional component. And
age-related changes, which are, as we studied in last lecture, bone mass density, bone density decrease, and muscle strength decrease.
perfect, very good. What was the terminology? Do you remember?
Sarcopenia,
Sarcopenia and osteoarthritis.
osteoarthritis,
Osteoarthritis or osteoporosis. Very
osteoporosis.
And in
yes.
females, osteomalacia.
Osteomalacia. Very good. Very nice. I'm glad everyone knows about it. So today the main content of the topic is to understand about introduction why musculoskeletal disorders are common in old age individual, aging related changes in the musculoskeletal system, sarcopenia, tendinopathies, arthritis, and the most common physiotherapy strategies what we're going to understand. First is we'll go to introduction. Musculoskeletal disorders are debilitating conditions which impair the state of health, quality of life, and also their mobility in the old age individuals. These are associated with pain, decreased mobility, increased risk of falls, fractures, impaired disability to perform the activities of daily living. The main age-related musculoskeletal changes what we see are sarcopenia, which is a loss of the muscle mass, tendinopathies where there is inflammation or any tears of the tendons and the ligaments, and arthritis specifically, which is a degeneration of any particular joint. So these three is also called as star triad. So many elderly population have three musculoskeletal issues together. It means that their overall condition is in a very bad state, and you have to really focus on their physiotherapy and the medical management. With the age, the musculoskeletal tissues shows increase in the bone fragility. Can anybody tell me what is bone fragility?
Ma'am, the bone which is more prone to fractures.
Very good, very nice. So fragile means poor, weak, very sensitive, very delicate. So as you know, we have already discussed in osteoporosis, with the age, the gaps inside your bones keep increasing, right? The Havasian canal or the framework of the bone goes for degeneration. There is increase in the resorption of the calcium from the bone, making the bone more weak and more prone to fractures and balance issues. Loss of cartilage. What is cartilage? Can anybody tell me?
Ma'am, cartilage are the soft tissues which are one of the type which covers the joint surface area, like which is hyaline cartilage.
Very good. What is the main function of the cartilage? Very, very nice.
Ma'am, to prevent friction between the joint.
Perfect. Very good. Cartilage are meant to reduce the friction, to absorb the external forces, to make the integrity of the joint. With the age, cartilage is also a type of a soft tissue. Cartilage is specifically made up of collagen and protein. With the age, the collagen levels of the body reduces, the protein makeup of the body reduces, and the cartilage goes for more wear and tear because of the aging. That's when the loss of cartilage also can increase the friction in between the joint and increase the pain. Reduce ligament elasticity. What is ligament?
Ma'am, the structure which joins one bone to other.
Very good. Can anybody name any one ligament which is the most important ligament? You can take an example
ACL,
of knee joint.
ACL, PCL, crucial ligament,
Very good.
crucial.
Very okay.
MCL.
MCL also. So, as you know, ligaments are also a type of the soft tissue. You might have learned in your first year about the length tension relation or the stress of any soft tissue. If the ligaments or the tissues have been stretched maximum to their maximal length, they do not come back to its original position after they are left. So, when a person is undergoing aging, constant external forces and internal forces create a lot of friction and wear and tear of the ligaments and the tendons, which can also cause the tears of the tendons and also can make the tendons very stiff. So the mobility of the entire joint is reduced. Loss of muscular strength. Obviously, sarcopenia is there. If the muscle mass is less, muscle strength will also be less. As compared to the distribution of the soft tissue and the fat, with the age, the muscle mass reduces and the fat content of the body or that particular tissue increases. That also makes it very difficult for the person to move or to do the activities of daily living, and that overall reduces the patient's mobility. Everybody clear till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we are going to understand what are the major musculoskeletal changes you see in old age. So can anybody name the major important musculoskeletal structures in our body? The major musculoskeletal structures in our body. Anyone?
Ma'am, our shoulder
Muscles,
joint.
Muscles and
joints, bones,
Shoulder
muscles,
joint, knee
bones,
joint.
ligaments, tendons, the capsule, cartilage, and the synovial lining. These are the major musculoskeletal systems which makes up the entire body's movement. With the age, every particular soft tissue will go for degeneration. Okay, it's not compulsory, but majorly they go for degeneration. There are many risk factors to the degeneration, which we'll discuss earlier. As you can see in the picture, when a person is young and more physically active, the blood circulation is always better, the wear and tear is less, the joints are very healthy, the muscle strength is good. When the age happens, the skeletal mass reduces, where sarcopenia is there. When the muscle mass reduces, the number of the fibers reduces, the muscle strength overall will reduce. Once the muscle strength is overall reduced, there will be a muscular impairment. Now, what is muscular impairment? Impairment means when a person is not able to do the activities of daily living or their particular activities of job. So, in the skeletal muscles, there will be reduction in the muscle mass, and also there are a lot of mitochondria which are present inside the muscle. As you know, muscles' main function is to contract and do the movement. Where will the energy come from? It will come from mitochondria. With the age, the number of the mitochondria inside the muscle cell keep reducing. There are a lot of DNA mutation happens, which are basic genetic changes which takes place with the aging. The increased autopsy happens. Now, what is autopsy? Autopsy is basically a planned
Ma'am,
cell.
autopsy is also called as suicide.
Exactly. So normally in our body, with the time and with the age, the cells which have gone bad, they undergo autopsy. So with the aging, the number of the cells go for autopsy keeps increasing, and the overall mitochondria and the energy level production reduces. Everybody is with me? Any difficulty?
No, ma'am, no difficulty.
Okay. So aging does not only has a problem with musculoskeletal disease, but has also a lot of impact on the other tissues as well. So is heart or the cardiac system, cardiac muscle is a main muscle? Is it an important muscle or not an important muscle?
very
It
important.
is an important.
So which type of muscle fibers are found inside your heart tissue?
Smooth muscle, all
Very good. Smooth muscle and
involuntary muscles.
very good. Involuntary muscles and smooth muscles, because the major function of heart is to constantly contract and pump the blood. So even heart as a major muscle part of the body, there is a reduction in the number of the cardiocytes and the muscle cells inside the heart. Thus, the pacemaker cells, which are the P cells which are present in the SA node, there is a reduction of the cells there, and also the elasticity of the heart reduces. So usually with the age, your heart becomes becomes very less compliant. It doesn't pump properly because it has lost its elasticity. With the loss of elasticity, the water content of the muscle fiber reduces, makes it very difficult for the heart to pump. Clear till now?
Ma'am, can
Yes.
you repeat the heart muscle part, please?
Yes. So as we know, we have different type of muscle fibers in our body. So we have something called as smooth muscles. We have something called as striated muscles and unstriated muscles. Okay. Smooth muscles are the muscles which are usually present inside your visceral organs and your heart. And the major skeletal muscles are the muscles which are meant for the movement. Those are voluntary muscles. Okay. So as in the heart, it is a major muscle group. With the age, the muscle cells, the heart muscle cells, which are called as cardiocytes, reduce in the number. They go for degeneration, and also the muscles become less elastic. The water content of the muscle reduces, which makes the heart more stiffer, and it makes the pumping difficult. Clear till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Imagine, so I'll just give an example. Imagine I have a plastic tube and I have a metal tube. So water will be more flexible in the plastic tube, correct? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
And in the metal tube, as you know, the metal tube is very hard because there is no elasticity property. The water pressure will be very high because the metal tube is hard. Same with the age. Before, our heart is like a plastic tube. With the age, the arteries become like a metal tube. They become very hard and stiff, which makes it very difficult to pump the blood. So heart is also affected. Also diaphragm, which is a major breathing muscle.
Ma'am, diaphragm.
Diaphragm.
Diaphragm, again, it's a smooth muscle and involuntary muscle. It is a major muscle group which is constantly there to take your breathing control. With the age, also the muscle fibers go for degeneration on the diaphragm. Your cuff strength will reduce because they are not able to make more pressure. Also, the alveolar elasticity. Your diaphragm elasticity will reduce, which makes your overall thoracic wall more stiff and difficult to breathe. So with the age, there will be a lot of changes in the diaphragm as well as your lung tissues. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have discussed about the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, and musculoskeletal system. Now we need to also focus on your gastrointestinal system. So in our gastrointestinal system, which are the major muscles which are there? Does anybody know?
Smooth muscles again and involuntary muscles used
Where
in
are these
whole
smooth muscles present?
for swallowing in stomach, in small intestine, large intestine.
For
Very good.
peristalsis movements.
Yes, correct. Peristalsis movement. So the major function of your gastrointestinal system is to push the food from your esophagus to the gastric areas to the large intestine and the small intestine. So the major movement is peristalsis. We usually don't focus on these muscles, but these are the most important muscles because you have to eat on regular basis. If you don't eat, the energy production will not happen. So with the age, your peristaltic movements in your intestine and your gastric system reduces. The gut motility reduces. The barrier inside, the good barrier inside your stomach is also affected with the age, and the good microorganisms are the bacteria which are there inside your stomach, which helps to digest the food also reduces. That's why many age related people have a lot of gas troubles, acidity and bloating. So it is very important for us to also address the gastrointestinal problems. Clear till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now we are going to focus on sarcopenia. I think they have already discussed about sarcopenia before, but we are going to discuss in little detail today. So can anybody tell me what is sarcopenia? Majority everyone knows about this now.
Loss
Ma'am,
of muscle strength.
Loss of the muscle mass. According to the European Working Group on sarcopenia in older people, it describes sarcopenia as a syndrome which is characterized by the progressive and generalized loss of skeletal muscle mass and the strength, with the risk of adverse outcome measures such as physical disability, poor quality of life, and sometimes death. The former adaptation consists of neuropathic processes leading to the motor unit denervation and preferential loss of the fast motor units. Can anybody tell me what is a motor unit? What is a motor unit?
Motor unit is a nerve which supplies a bundle of striated muscle fibers or voluntary muscle fibers. That's called a muscle unit.
Very nice. So any nerve which together stimulates all the motor units inside the muscle is a motor unit. So there are multiple motor units which are present in particular one muscle. Okay. With the age, with the sarcopenia, as the muscle mass reduces, the number of the motor units reduce. If the motor units are reducing, the overall muscle power and the muscle strength is going to reduce, which makes your physical ability poor and which makes the person more dependable. So there are loss of muscle mass is due to the decrease in the muscle fibers, which is called as hypoplasia, and the size, which is called as atrophy. So sarcopenia has seen two types. One is reduction in the muscle fiber, which is hypoplasia, and one is the size. The girth of the muscle is reduction, which is called as atrophy. Specifically, the type 2 fibers are more vulnerable as compared to type 1. Can anybody differentiate between type 1 and type 2 fibers?
Type 1 fibers are the fast fibers which are more responsible for strength and fast functioning. And type 2 fibers are slow fibers which are more responsible for type 2 fibers.
Anyone else?
Ma'am, type 1 are the red muscle fibers and type 2 are the white muscle fibers. The red muscle fibers are for endurance and for great period of time working, like for longer durations they work and they get less fatigue. But because white muscle fibers, they don't have that much of blood supply, they are fatigued easily and they are meant for strength instead of
Very,
endurance.
very true. And also in the chat box correctly mentioned, type 1 are the slow twitch fibers. Slow twitch fibers are the white fibers which sustain for a longer period of time and usually are present more in the anti-gravity muscles. Type 2 fibers, which are the red fibers, which are the fast twitch fibers, those work for the strength. Okay. Specifically, those are against the gravity. Specifically, your biceps, your quadriceps, these have more type 2 fibers, but major muscles like your trapezius, your calf muscles, your back muscles have type 1 fibers because they have to work against the gravity for the constant amount of time. So type 2 fibers reduce faster as compared to the type 1 fibers because type 1 are postural fibers. So the symptoms of sarcopenia are unintentional weight loss, self-reported exhaustion, muscle weakness, low grip strength, low walking speed, and low physical activity. So now you see in this picture in sarcopenia, a 35-year-old male, see the amount of the quadricep muscle in the cross section with the age at 55C and at the age of 85C. So it is replaced with the help of the fat muscles. With the old age, your muscle fiber mass reduces, the atrophy happens and they are all replaced with the help of the fat muscles. So this is what happens in sarcopenia. So the major pathophysiology behind the sarcopenia is with the age, the inflammatory stresses increases, oxidative stress increases, the mitochondria are not working properly, there is an increased apoptosis, specifically the cell death increases, and there is improper protein metabolism. As I have mentioned, majority of our body is made up of protein. Your muscles are also made up of protein. With the age, your protein formation reduces, and also with the age, the person cannot eat a lot of food. So protein in metabolism can also lead to reduction in the muscle atrophy and also the muscle size. Everybody clear? Any difficulty in the pathophysiology of sarcopenia?
No
So how do we
difficulty, ma'am.
differentiate between sarcopenia and the normal old age relaxed degeneration? So sarcopenia is usually, what do? We do a DEXA scan. So DEXA scan, we understand the muscle mass and you always do a age appropriate comparison. If you see with the age appropriate comparison, the overall muscle mass is reduced, you can suggest the person has sarcopenia. Also keep taking the girth measurements. With the time, if you feel the girth is reducing down, it means that the person has sarcopenia. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
repeat it. I'll repeat it, Farzana. So, so the very good question, how do we distinguish between sarcopenia and normal degeneration? Always do a DEXA scan. In DEXA scan, you will understand the bone mass and the muscle mass. So overall muscle mass, you'll get a percentage. Always compare with the age normal percentage and see whether it is in the normal range or not. If it is less, it means it is sarcopenia. If it is normal, it means it is age-related degeneration. Clear? Do sarcopenia also affect the cardiac muscle diaphragm? Yes, it does affect the cardiac muscles and your diaphragm muscles and sphincter muscles, because with the sphincter muscles, there is a lot of incontinence as a symptoms which is seen in the old age population. Breathing becomes difficult because they are not able to breathe. They become very exhausted fast. And also the cardiac system is also affected. The pumping and the regulation of the cardiac muscles is affected, but not as compared to the skeletal muscle, because skeletal muscle has type 2 fibers, red fibers, and all these smooth muscles have more type 1 fibers. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we're going to go to the second topic, which is called as tendinopathy. Can anybody tell me what is tendinopathy? Very simple.
Inflammation of
Inflammation
tendons.
or
Inflammation of the
injury to the
tendon.
tendon is
I
called
cannot hear.
tendinopathy. Any pathology related to the tendons, inflammation or injury, or they are called tendinopathies.
Very good. Can anybody mention one most common tendon injury seen in old age population?
Tennis elbow.
Lateral
Tennis elbow,
epicondylitis.
golfer elbow.
Tennis elbow,
Ma'am,
golf.
rotator cuff injury.
Majorly of
Rotator cuff. Very good. Whoever has answered this question, amazing. Rotator cuff is the most common tendon injury. It is age-related tendon injury, not because of trauma. Is most commonly seen in old age population. Okay. So please make sure that you know this. Usually the patients will come with a symptom of frozen shoulder, pain in the shoulder. Everybody thinks it is frozen shoulder. But no, sometimes they can come with a supraspinatus tendinopathy also. Please make sure to assess the patient properly before starting any treatment. So tendinopathy is a musculoskeletal disorder characterized by tendon pain during a particular activity. As we know, is tendon contractile structure or a non-contractile structure? Anyone?
Non-contractile, ma'am.
uncontractile.
Correct. So if they have pain during an active movements means contractile structure. It means the pain is because of some kind of muscular problem. Muscular problem matlab any rotator cuff problem, bicipital tendonitis, anything like that. If the pain is more during the passive movement, it means the capsular problem is there. So with this simple history also, you will understand if it is a capsular problem or it is because of the tendinopathy. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any pain during an activity, overhead activity or any movement, tendon swelling, localized tenderness, and also loss of function are usual major symptoms and the signs what the patients can come up with. Tendon injury may result from repetitive mechanical load, inflammatory response, because of which they can show collagen degeneration, increase in the mucoid ground substance, increased tenocytes with the differentiation properties. Most common tendinopathies which you see in the old age population is rotator cuff, gluteal tendinopathies, and the major symptoms is the reduction in the range of motion, reduction in the muscle strength, and overall reduction in the activities of daily living. Clear till now, everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please give the example of gluteal tendinopathies?
Yes, I'll just come there. I'll just clear this doubt of Prithvi. Doesn't capsule also move with the active movement? Capsule is a non-contractile structure. It helps to maintain the integrity of joint. Capsule will stretch with the movement. It will not move with the movement. Please remember this. Okay. So whenever you do an active movement, a major active movement is done by the muscular strength. If your muscle is not working properly, the tendon is not working properly, the person will have pain. Capsule, if it is going for more tightness, it is better understood in the passive movements, because in passive movements, the capsular stretch will be seen better as compared to the active movements. Clear? Okay.
Yes.
Now we'll go to the gluteal. So gluteal tendinopathy means that when the hip joint, okay, the hip joint and your pelvis joints have many tendons and ligaments which overlap with each other to maintain the integrity of pelvis and the hip joint. So as you know, we have the major function of our body is to move, to walk. With the aging, the tendons which are actually ahead of your acetabular and the femur joint or the hip joint will constantly rub, because of which the person can have gluteal tendinopathies. And the major symptoms of this tendinopathy will be difficulty in walking, difficulty in sitting down. Some patients who tell that when we are doing prayers, we sit down, but we are not able to because we have some pain inside the hip. So the hip mobility will reduce, the hip strength will reduce, sitting to standing will get difficult, and also sometimes turning inside the bed will get difficult. So these are the major symptoms of gluteal tendinopathy. Clear?
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. So now you see in this picture how you can see a healthy tendon structure and a tendinopathy structure. In the healthy tendon, you see all the collagen fibers and the ground substances are in proper line and they are compact, and the elasticity is good and the liquidity, the water content is good. But in the tendinopathy condition, where there is a lot of inflammation and repetitive trauma, there is disturbance in the collagen alignment. There will be micro tears inside the tendons, which can lead to constant inflammation. When the tendon collapses, the fiber goes for disseparation and there is a disorganized repair. When there is a disorganized repair, that can also come as stiffness and pain during the active range of motion exercises. Clear, everyone? How does the tendinopathy look like? What is the pathophysiology and how does it happen?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Now we'll come to arthritis. Can anybody tell me what is arthritis and different types of arthritis?
Ma'am, inflammation caused around the joints, and different type of arthritis are rheumatoid arthritis as well as osteoarthritis.
Okay, anyone else?
Degeneration
Ma'am, arthritis is a term
and
that is not used anymore. It's arthropathy. And in the common sense, it is degenerative changes occurring in the synovial cartilage. And types
Very
would be
good.
primary and secondary arthritis.
Yes. Can you give more details about primary and secondary arthritis, Prithvi?
Ma'am, primary arthritis would be arthritis which is caused directly due to age-related or mechanical-related injuries, while secondary are more concerned with systemic changes like septic arthritis or any metabolic disorders which is converting into arthritis in a chronic state.
Very good, very nice. Yes, arthropathy is the correct terminology, but in many researches and many books, yet people use arthritis as the name and as the a condition name. So, as correctly mentioned by everyone, arthritis is a disease specifically targeting the articular surface of the joint. So, if I take an example of knee arthritis, which is the most common arthritis, what do you see? So, we have a femoral condyle and we have a tibial condyle. So, any disease where the articular joint surface is problematic, is biochemically, structurally, physically damaged, can lead to arthritis or arthropathy. So when you know both the surfaces are damaged, also the synovial system around the joint will also be damaged. Okay, so many arthritis have degenerative problem, which is a primary, and secondary could be because of some kind of genetic problems or could be because of systemic inflammation. Osteoarthritis is the most common arthritis which we see in our day-to-day patient in our OPD basis, where they come with any joint pain. It starts biochemically, it affects the synovium, which is the surrounding of the joint, cartilage, which is present in between the joint, subchondral bone, which is the surface layer of the bone, which progress to the damages inside the joint and can damage the overall structure of the joint. When the structure is damaged, the movement will also be damaged. And while the movement is happening, the patient will have pain because the inflammation is more. Clear till now? Any difficulty? Yes, secondary arthritis is also considered as predisposing factors like fractures, ligament injuries to the arthritis. Very true. So arthritis, osteoarthritis is because of degeneration, and there is something called as genetic or immune related arthritis like rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis. So these are the arthritis type where the genetic mutation is there or that particular people have the particular gene. So in rheumatoid arthritis, which genetic component is seen? Anyone?
RL 27.
Which anyone?
Ma'am, repeat question.
Which type of genetic changes or the biomarker is seen in rheumatoid arthritis?
RH factor.
Ma'am,
Which
RA
Ma'am,
factor?
rheumatoid nodules are also seen.
I'm talking about the biomarker.
Ma'am, RH
That's
factor.
RA factor,
RA factor and
quantitative and qualitative as well.
yes. And in ankylosing spondylitis, which biomarker is there?
HLA-B27.
HLA-B27.
Very good. So these are the major blood tests which you do in order to confirm whether the person has degenerative arthritis or they have immune related arthritis. Also, many people, because of their occupation, have a lot of wear and tear, occupational microtrauma and macrotrauma, which causes that constant load on a particular joint, which causes wear and tear and also cause deformities, which makes the mechanical forces more worsen, makes the subchondral bone more overlining, damages the bone structure, and makes the bone more osteoporotic, and which can lead to fractures and also can lead to a lot of damage. So, can anybody mention few occupational osteoarthritis? Anyone?
I mean, IT people, they have a lot of sitting job, and they sit for a prolonged time. That's why they develop arthritis, osteoarthritis more easily because they don't work, they don't walk, they don't do more physical exercises. That can be, I mean, is it?
Very true, very nice. The most common joint which is affected in the IT workers is the cervical spine and the low back pain.
Ma'am, security guard, they are more prone to arthritis like Knee osteoarthritis in early age.
I cannot hear what?
Ma'am, security guard. They are more
Yes,
prone to
security
knee
guard.
arthritis in early age.
So anyone
Ma'am,
who has more
obese
standing
people
job.
also.
Yes, teachers, watchmen, security guards, police officers who have a lot of standing demand can have knee arthritis or the hip arthritis. Depends on their situation and the condition. Now in this picture, you can see a very nice distinction between a normal knee joint and an arthritic knee joint.
Ma'am,
So
one question. What
yes.
is the relationship between the TMJ degeneration and with teachers? Is that because of their keep on speaking or they keep on using their voices? I mean, they keep on talking to the students. So TMJ joins in involved because recent days I've seen 50 plus age of teachers, almost 2 to 3, have TMJ problems.
Yeah, this is a very, very good point. TMJ is a joint which is very neglected and many people do not assess also. So many teachers or many individuals who have a constant talking problem, who have constant dental issues, can come up with TMJ problems. The major complaint or the symptom they come up with is speaking difficulty, chewing difficulties.
Yes,
They cannot
opening they the major symptom is they have pain while opening, like they couldn't able to open mouth to have food.
Yeah, exactly. So food opening is difficult because the opening is done by the temporomandibular joint. So these are the major symptoms they come up with. So I would recommend everyone who comes up with the opening difficulties to properly assess the TMJ joint and also assess the dental problems. Very nice point which has been mentioned. So as you see in the normal structure of the knee joint, you see the cartilage, you see the synovial, articular cartilage, the synovial cavity and the bone. All are in a very proper structure and the proper formation. But with the osteoarthritis, because of the constant wear and tear and constant inflammation, the subchondral bone, subchondral means the layer which is just below the surface of the bone, becomes more visible. The capsule becomes more thickened. The synovial fluid will reduce. The cartilage will go for wear and tear. And also there will be a lot of osteophyte formation to support the mobility of the joint. All these arthritic changes can overall reduce your mobility, increase your pain, and also increase the stiffness of the joint while doing any activities. Clear till now, everyone?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
If the arthritic pain exacerbate with the weight loaded on the joint, does an opening of the joint increase the joint space? So when you're opening the joint, when you're doing the opening of the temporomandibular joint, as we know, it is a bicondylar joint. So one part of the joint will go for opening, the other part will go for more compression. So opening will cause a lot of pain. Clear, Prithvi? Yes. So now we have discussed about sarcopenia, tendinopathies, arthritis, and now we need to focus on the physiotherapy management. So now, before going to the physiotherapy management, I would want to understand how would you do a clear assessment from the start till the end in such individuals? Can anybody suppose I'll give one case. I want everyone to solve the case, and I will ask anyone. So a 65-year-old female comes to your OPD and the clinic. The major complaint of the patient is knee pain, and the knee pain specifically happens when the person is standing and walking. Okay, so can anybody start with the history till the examination? What all assessment will you do before you come to the treatment? Anyone?
Ma'am, we will see the condition according to the knee disability scale, and then we will
Direct.
do the subjective assessment and the chief complaints of the patients, and the patient is getting difficulty in which activities, and the
You
inflammation part is also observed at that time, and the assistive devices, if needed by the patient, are also seen.
Okay, you'll directly jump to this. Anyone, can you explain in a proper format from the history to
Ma'am,
observation to action?
Ma'am, are both the
we
knee
will
joints affected bilateral?
Yes, bilateral joints are affected.
Ma'am, as the patient is experiencing pain during loading,
Yes.
walking, and during standing for a long time,
Hmm.
the first thing we would like to evaluate is joint palpation.
Very good.
In load bearing, there are so many structures which can be involved, like meniscus and articular cartilage. It's already under load. So we need to exclude all these to reach to a diagnosis. Moreover, if we suspect any osteoarthritis or something related to degeneration, we can always refer the patient for an X-ray.
Okay. And
Ma'am, first of all, we would start with the patient's history taking, which includes like and since when the patient pain is coming and in what activities the pain aggravating and relieving factors, then the pain type, which type of the pain is, and at what time it is more in the patient, and what activities are more disturbed due to pain in the patient. And other than that, then we can come on to the palpation and range of motion assessment, then uh, MMT assessment of muscles around the joint, which is knee joint, around the knee joint, muscles which are used for extension and flexion of knee joint. And then we can go for special tests and investigation reports.
very good. Very correct. Please make sure that you take the history in this manner. Do the palpation
I
in
would
this.
suggest, Dr. Nishi, we would ask a patient whether the person was working. If it is lady, then the person was working, or a housewife and it was working. What was the occupation of her when she what work she used to do, and that also we can rule out one thing.
Very good. Occupational history is very important. Also, physical activity history is very important. Whether the patient is doing any physical activity like walking, Zumba, yoga, anything, sometimes too much of overexertion there can also lead to pain. Also, check their investigation. Investigation may major complaint. Environmental history is very important, yes. We need to always understand the physical activity investigations like vitamin D levels, calcium levels, DEXA scan, if their X-ray is very important, and also go for special test. If all these things are there, you do the special test and then you come that it is because of the joint pain, the line of management will be different. If you understand it is because of ligaments and tendons, the line of management will be different. So please make sure to do a thorough assessment before going anywhere. Also do gait training, great assessment, balance assessment, very important, which has to be mentioned. Okay. So I think
And ma'am,
someone has.
also we need to check the past history of the patient
Yes, past history
because
is
ma'am,
very important.
many past surgeries like ACL and other surgery due to lack of rehab, patient feel pain during the walking and standing and like stair climbing.
Very true. Many people I have seen in old age individuals, they have repeated ligaments injuries, sprains, but they don't undergo rehab. So when the rehab is not done, the ligaments are very weak. When the ligaments are weak, the entire stress is going to come on the bones. And you know, with the age, your muscles are not working properly. So your bones are overloaded and which can also lead to degeneration.
Ma'am, if I can add a point.
Yes, you can definitely add a point.
Ma'am, one thing that we generally overlook is how is this condition is affecting the patient's psychosocial component, because being a 65-year-old, the goal setting and the management will change compared to a 20-year-old or a 40-year-old having OA. So because she's 60, her needs will be much different, much simpler, like walking within the community, ambulation, or climbing stairs. So one of the assessments that we usually miss is what are the functions that is being restricted because of the current symptoms.
Very true. So when you take the history, it is very important for us to understand that how you're planning the rehab. What are the goals of the patient? If a young individual who is 30 will come and tell me that I want to run a marathon, my line of management will be different. If a 65, 70-year-old female comes with a knee pain and tells me that I just want to do walking and I want to do sit to stand and do my activities of daily living, your management will be different. Psychosocial support, psychosocial care, emotional care is very importantly should be included in the treatment strategy so that they recover very well. Because pain is very emotionally connected. Usually the females, they usually are very sad that I can't do my household work, I can't even walk. So you have to give them more psychosocial support that everything will get better. You just have to focus on your physical strength. Clear, everyone? Any difficulties?
Clear, ma'am.
So now the most common strategies are pharmacological treatment, lifestyle modification, rehabilitation, and interventional procedures. So if the patients come with pain and a lot of inflammation, and on the numerical rating scale, the pain is more than 8 or 9 on 10, please make sure that the person first starts with the medicine. With 8 or 9 on 10, you start with physiotherapy and exercises, the inflammation will increase and the pain will increase. So pain medications, corticosteroid injections, then also with vitamin D supplementation, calcium supplementation, collagen supplementation, the patient will get better. Once the pain is less than 50%, you can start with physiotherapy exercises. Many patients who are at a little on a heavier side, who are little obese, will have an increased load on the joints. So major importance will be lifestyle modification like nutritional changes, where you have to focus on increasing in the protein supplements, you have to increase in the vitamin D and calcium supplementation, reduction in the cholesterol levels, and also you have to focus on making sure that the patients start losing the weight. I will come on the PRP injections and the interventional procedures. Once the lifestyle modification is done, you have to also focus on the hydration. Many people miss on the hydration levels of the joint. Hydration is very important because, as you know, 90% of our body is made up of water. The synovial fluid, if it's not there, the friction absorption will not be present and the patient will have the pain. After that, we have to come on the rehabilitation component. As a physiotherapist, we have to focus on that. So in physical therapy, first, when you do the assessment, you will understand the problem list. So first problem the patient comes up with is pain. So we'll take an example of the patient I have given. She came with a complaint of pain and she told that while standing and walking, I have pain. So I did the pain assessment. She has a lot of pain. Second, her knee mobility is reduced. Her knee range of motion, her knee flexion is only till 90 degrees. So knee flexion range is also lost. There is a lot of stiffness in the knee joint. There is a lot of tightness in the knee muscles, and the patient is not able to do walking, and the overall muscle strength is less. So with the help of the assessment, I have figured out the impairments. Now I have to focus on the treatment procedure. So pain, how will you reduce the pain? With the help of grade 1, grade 2 mobilization, or with the help of the electricotherapy like TENS and IFT, depends on your patient. You can also start with release of the joint where you feel the joint stiffness is there. With the joint stiffness, focus on the mobility exercises. You have to increase the range. So how will you improve the range? With the mobilization and MET techniques. Once the range gets better, you start with the activation of the muscle. Focus on the body weight exercise first with 5 seconds hold, 10 seconds hold. After that, you can start with a body weight exercise like squats, lunges, walking. You can start with standing training. Once the standing training is done, also focus on the balance and the proprioception training, because when there is wear and tear, the proprioceptors which are present over the joint, which tells about the joint position sense, also go for degeneration. Because of which many patients do feel unbalanced and also feel that they will fall. So you have to focus on the balance treatment, proprioceptive treatment, gait training, hurdle training, and also teach them the functional activity. You can create exercises which are more functionally acceptable to the patient. If the patient tells that I have to work inside the kitchen, so major work inside the kitchen will be walking, side walking, and squatting and coming on the toes. So you have to focus on such functionally based exercises in such rehab protocols. Everybody clear till now? Any difficulties?
Hello,
Yes.
No difficulty.
ma'am. According to the American orthopedic guidelines, where
Yes.
they mention the three category according for the knee arthritis. First is ma'am gold standard method. Second is silver, and third is bronze. Where they in gold standard they basically first advice for the weight management. So
Correct.
ma'am,
Very true.
as a physio, which exercise basically we give patient for proper weight management, so that ma'am the pain reduce.
Okay. So as a physiotherapist, your first line of treatment will never be reduction of the weight. For reduction of the weight, the person has to do walking and physical activity. When there is so much of pain, how will they reduce the weight? The weight management has to be taken in consideration with the help of a nutritionist. Okay. The nutritionist will side by side give the nutrition program with the help of the exercises, with the help of the strength training. When the pain is reduced, then you can start with the walking program for patients. Then you can create more targeted walking like 6,000 steps and 7,000 steps. With the help of that, the weight will automatically reduce. If you feel the patient is very obese, you can also plan for some kind of bariatric surgeries where the weight will reduce automatically. Understood?
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. So this was the line of management for the case what I have discussed. Then if we see no difference in 3 months, 6 months of exercises and physiotherapy, and if you see the patient is in constant pain, the patient is not able to do any activities, then you have to go for interventional procedures. Interventional procedures have different types such as steroid injections, PRP injections. Now, what is PRP? It is plasma-rich protein injections. These injections are usually given inside the joint space for the cartilage to form, to make the stem cell therapy to happen and to cause more regeneration process. Steroid injections are given when the patient has a lot of pain. But even with these injections, there is no difference. The patient has to undergo a replacement surgeries, which is most commonly seen, and the prognosis is very good. The chances post-operation recovery is also very fast, but physiotherapy post-replacement is also very important. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, according to the latest studies conducted as a review paper as well, they have noticed that viscosupplementation, steroid injections, physiotherapy modalities, and all other interventions, they have found one shocking factor, that if the patient is able to walk continuously for at least, I mean, gradually, it reaches 6,000 steps a day, the pain threshold to the relief of symptoms, it increases by almost 70%.
Oh, that
That's
is
the
amazing.
latest study. I studied it on PhysioTutors.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Hemant, to share this piece of information with everyone. So
No
yes, there
problem.
are upcoming researchers which have been coming to see whether which kind of interventional researchers are or procedures are more in advantage to the patients, knee replacements or PRP or steroid. But please make sure that the patient has to be more physically active, even if they have taken any injections. So there are different line of treatments. What we usually focus on is aerobic exercise like cycling, walking, treadmill. Strength training could be body weight, could be with the TheraBands, dumbbells, or with the holds. Neuromuscular exercise specifically to focus on their functional outcome measures. Proprioceptive training like balance training and joint position sense training. Many patients who are very obese, okay, they cannot walk properly. In such conditions, aquatherapy works amazingly well. Now, what is aquatherapy? It is an exercise which we take inside the water. As we know, water has very good property of buoyancy. Okay, so it will make sure the body weight is floating, which automatically reduces the weight on the knees, and the patients are able to do the exercises very well tolerated inside the water. But always make sure that the water exercise and the land exercise always have to be balanced. If you're only focusing on the water exercise, the patient's pain will keep increasing on the land and they will be more comfortable inside the water. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Balance training, you can focus on more standing balance like tandem standing, one leg ahead, one leg standing, tandem walking, then reach outs, balancing on the unstable surfaces like pillow or any medicinal ball, then doing multitasking activities like hurdle walking. So with the help of all these training programs, it will take minimum 6 months to 9 months, depends on the patient's stage of arthritis and the condition for the overall changes to happen. So you have to educate the patient about the time. It doesn't happen in one day. You need to give a time of 3 months to 6 months for the changes to happen. Everyone clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Was the topic very easy to understand or difficult?